Bitcoin is seeing an CAREFULL, a push towards disadvantage, clearly towards our essential liquidity level. In any case, in this video we will examine the reason why we got an CAREFULL on the essential spot. Besides, furthermore, I in like manner need to confer to you my fundamental all count, when potentially the base for Bitcoin will be in, and we can anticipate significantly more extreme expense target in the looming days. However, most importantly, you will see yesterday we were saying that Bitcoin is pushing towards the potential increase clearly towards a fundamental level of resistance. Besides, as we were referring to in like manner on Twitter here, from the month-to-month volume weighted ordinary expense and the value locale high of the range, Bitcoin has now dropped for more than 2.5%. As yet, the new ordinary level is holding, yet I could regardless need to observe a liquidity opening too in the impending days. We ought to be patient, and could we check whether we are, as a matter of fact, going to get it, and it really is by all accounts CAREFULL towards burden, hit the everyday level of help faultlessly. At $22,700 started trading for the accompanying a few hours of this area, but by then out of the blue, another drop towards weakness on Bitcoin truly occurred. Why did we get a reaction and an CAREFULL at this specific district? As we were referring to similarly yesterday, stochastic C working framework was molding a twofold top model, which is clearly a sound digit correspondence. Last time we got a twofold top model here from the area at $24,000. We suddenly got an enormous drop towards now. Then, clearly, twofold top model sound correspondence push towards definitely occurred. Something different we truly need to zero in on was the volume that we got. Simply a push towards the possible increase. Exceptionally low volume, simply a push-up delicate push towards the potential increase river edge bit correspondence. Furthermore, it could be said that something different, one more inspiration driving why we got it pushed towards downside, was a consequence of the semi-opening fill at around $23,500. So it genuinely is by all accounts. A lot of signs, a lot of supports for why we can expect a sucker inconvenience. What's more, besides, clearly, we got straight uniqueness happening on our CVD pointer, which I would concur that it was cherry on the top. It appears like we started outlining an astoundingly identical high on our CVD pointer here. In any case, Bitcoin started forming a lower high identical limiting strain coming into the market, not prepared to push the expense higher negative sign, dump it, towards hindrance. As of now, really I would agree that the liquidity under $22,300 area truly hasn't been taken. Regardless, it is by all accounts that our most noteworthy guideline rate here was taken on the BB chart, clearly moreover on the Coinbase graph. We had the choice to take some liquidity underneath the lower 8 here and besides on the mid-am frame. The most decrease taken some liquidity on Bitcoin has recently been taken, and amazingly, or maybe not, people are getting completely crushed at this specific locale, when Bitcoin is dropping towards now. So as of now we ought to zoom without further ado here, where we will see unequivocally at a disaster. We are seeing negative strain coming into the market. So what's the importance here? Negative strain coming into the market, not prepared to push the expense, all the more delayed considering the way that we truly got a reaction towards the likely increase, and that suggests people are closing their long situations here. Certain people are getting obliterated with the stop setbacks, or maybe certain people of course are similarly getting absolutely completely sold, considering the way that on a push towards drawback, we truly got around 13 million of long positions getting sold, yet at the present time it truly is by all accounts, if we zoom not long from now here to see definitively accurate thing has been happening for the new minutes here. Opening come increase, buying pressure coming into the market, and it is by all accounts specific people as of now right buy and buy are longing, the piece included unequivocally into the everyday high term period of time level of deterrent. Buy and buy later in the video, I will grant to you what will be bullish, piece correspondence already. Truly prefer to fire it just out of the plastic new, longer buying position. Regardless, incidentally, we ought to zoom out to some degree right now, maybe on the regular period of time, and could we examine our back road? A few days earlier, we were by then referring to that Bitcoin completed its most paramount careless back doorway here. We got a correction towards some site. It is by all accounts okay as of now. We completed similarly our third one, and at the present time I would conceivably Bitcoin recently finished the fourth one, or we are right presently really moving in the fourth one, expecting another push towards the likely addition for our fifth and last back doorway wave here. Really when we examine our fourth back road wave, we want to observe the solution for through a more long time span, versus what we got in our ensuing back doorway wave. Furthermore, I figure you can in like manner agree with me, Bitcoin has been trading at this specific area for a surprisingly long time. Consequently, from my perspective, we are right presently really moving in our fourth N wave, conceivably coming to as far down as conceivable at this specific district. Likewise, clearly, potentially we could at this point anticipate the fifth and keep going N8 wave here. Regardless, beforehand, as of now, I really give to you a bullish sign we should observe or two in the impending hours, if we could genuinely need to go higher. Much thanks to you benevolent In case you're right now, truly squash the like button on this specific video, so what may be a bullish sign for us to then, at that point? Okay. The fourth mid-12 was truly wrapped up. Could we continue with our way towards the reverse? As of now, what you will see this moment, Bitcoin is trading underneath the regular high from period of time level of resistance. Remember, in advance this level was our level of help. We got an astoundingly lovely reaction here, but right now, since we broke it towards downside, it will be a level of resistance affirmation over the ordinary level here will be bullish piece correspondence. Regardless, we could similarly preferably need to see bullish market development to be molded in some action on a lower term time span. By and by, what you will see, for example, on the 15-second period of time, on the piece Bitcoin cost, we got a sucker thumb site, which was the lower here, lower high, lower low. As of now, the market structure on the 15-second stretch of time for Bitcoin is at this point looking negative, and in light of the fact that right now the market structure is looking negative, exactly what we should expect the current second. Conceivably we will shape a lower high rate here, and clearly, potentially similarly another lower low continuation of the example, simply a lower TR time frame. Regardless, if we are maybe going to see bullish uniqueness being molded on our CVD marker, and that suggests we will outline a higher low on Bitcoin, yet a lower low on our CVD pointer. If the maintenance will be happening at this specific district, we could expect a higher low, and on this specific higher low, we could be looking for a potential long or a diversion position, within the breathing room of our stop loss or some likeness thereof. Clearly, perhaps IB Bitcoin is going to in actuality take the liquidity at $22,300, maybe in the impending hours. Nonetheless, let me create or bestow to you an exceptionally good assist with evening out. We should zero in on the 2-hour, and clearly similarly on the 4-hour time span. With the high Bitcoin put in yesterday, we can perceive an extremely wonderful plunging channel. We will go from the high right 2-hour past lower high and expanding this one rather lower. It appears like being great plunging channel is going. By and by, something different I need to make reference to. A view that we have been getting ready in some kind of a standing channel, and what you can right as of now see the lower part of a dropping channel unequivocally at $22,100, $22,200. The lower piece of an end standing channel here, definitively at this specific district and around here. We in like manner have our past. For liquidity purposes and thus, I would concur that like that this go right as of now rather lower towards downside in the approaching hours, and actually this C resistance are genuinely excusable at the everyday line rate here. I would settle in the unlikely event that there is going to be reaction at $22,102 here. We could really be charmed going with a long or a restricting position on the contain. By and by, something different we need to indicate will be the fair worth opening on the ordinary time span. By what we can right as of now see with our fair worth openings here. Regularly we really want to see the fair worth opening to be filled anyway. Half and the portion of the fair worth opening will be around $21,800. So I would concur that like that maybe the levels or actually our assist level from our lower, with splitting of the plunging channel here, and the lower part of our standing channel, which will be at $22,100. Could see maybe some kind of the wick towards outside field the portion of our sim opening, maybe heat. Our splendid fuel typical extent, which is rather lower than our channels here at $21,802, and truly around then perhaps continue with our way towards the likely addition on the Bitcoin cost. Regardless, nevertheless, if Bitcoin will go lower here, see a reaction, and a while later go higher, or maybe expecting that we will continue with our way towards the likely increase. At present right now we should be familiar with the level of impediment that was confirmed actually a few hours earlier. By and by, how we will respond, making it crisp out of the plastic new ordinary high term time span, level of resistance, which will come up at about $23,245. As of now, why is this level here such a huge expense target, such a critical level of resistance? We should zero in on them. By and by, could we go on the 4-hour time span? I figure you can truly agree with me that ahead of time, or completely talking, this level here has been a critical level of resistance. It was level of resistance. We got an excusal towards some site level of resistance here, block. Moreover, when we broke, it's towards a possible increase. It just was insisted as our level of help. Why magnificent excusal, the extremely unambiguous district. Likewise, as of now in this zone of hindrance, we truly have a brand new regular high term time frame level here. By and by, imperceptibly higher. There is similarly a liquidity level on Bitcoin, but regardless, I would anyway concur that this line here, critical level of resistance because of the extraordinary term ternary level of obstacle here. Also, moreover, in like manner because of our month-to-month volume-weighted typical expense, so assume. See right now it pushed towards the potential increase directly towards our everyday, or maybe if we are going to as an issue of some significance. See a liquidity rep and a while later see push towards the potential addition level of insurance from have some familiarity with $23,245 here on the Bitcoin cost. As of now, we ought to examine a couple of markers here, since, in such a case that, for example, you go with a gathering computation on the 2-hour or maybe on the 4-hour. This moment we are forming a bullish uniqueness since we are outlining a higher low and a lower low on the bid incorporate and on the 4-hourly time span. We in like manner have a game plan for a normal bullish difference, bullish disparity on the 4-hourly here. It's at this point not confirmed. Nevertheless, expecting we start bowing towards the update, it will be our higher low and a lower low on the bid incorporate, which will be bullish divergence on the gathering computation on the 4-hour time span. By and by unequivocally exactly the same thing is happening on cash. RSI pointer, and clearly also on the MAG marker, lower low on Bitcoin, higher low on MACD, which will be bullish, uniqueness on the 2-hour time frame. Lower low, higher, missing the mark on cash stream, higher low on our RSI pointer, and it is by all accounts markers right by and by are forming actually those bullish divergencies, which clearly will be bullish Bitcoin sign. Regardless, to go with a long or buying position as of now, at this point, right now, where presently certain people are going with a buy or a long position, from my perspective. Set your stop guidelines with slight more breathing room, potentially IP. Bitcoin is truly going to see a liquidity graph at approximately 22,300 US stars here. On the other hand, in case you are at this point remaining